All right, so this is called graphing simple quadratic functions. A quadratic function is a nonlinear function that we can write as ax squared plus bx plus c, where a does not equal 0. So what does it look like? Well, most of you picked up on it in class today. It looks like a u, but not exactly a u. It ramps up to the right and up to the left. Where do we find that in nature? Well, we don't find that one as much, maybe on a roller coaster ride. But generally speaking, the motion of an object, if it's tossed up into the air, will follow what we call parabolic motion, and it's an upside down quadratic function. We'll talk about how to do an upside down quadratic function in a moment. The parts are right here at the bottom, we call the vertex, and down the middle is a line of symmetry. So, moving forward a little bit, y equals x squared. That's where a equals 1 and b and c equals 0. It's the most basic quadratic function we can find. So we call that the parent function. So why do we call it that? Well, the parent function is the basic function that we will use to modify going forward. So for example, if we had y equals x squared looking like that, we would say, okay, the next one that we drew, and I'll put it in green. Well, there's lots of neat words for this. They say it's vertically expanded. I say it's fatter. Or maybe it gets thinner. Or maybe the graph moves up. Or maybe the graph gets flipped upside down. So whenever we graph one of these, we need to graph the parent function and then make a statement that compares the new graph to the parent function. I'll show you how to do that. So for you, I would expect you to make a table. We are not going to do that. I'm just going to show you the results. I would expect you to make a table to prove this or put it into a graphing calculator. So we'll do the parent function in blue, and we'll label it up at the top. Y equals x squared, and that is the parent function. Now what's going to happen when we put the 3 in here? Well, we think it's going to make it one thing, but it doesn't actually do that. It will actually make it thinner. And again, we can put that into our graphing calculator if we need to. So this is y equals 3x squared. We do not need to be precise. Just get a rough idea of where it's going. If I need you to be precise, I will tell you to. So that's y equals 3x squared. If we're graphing y equals negative 1/4 x squared, and again, we have to put the parent function in. Well, let's ignore the negative for just a second. If the 3 made it thinner, I'm going to guess that the 1/4 makes it fatter. Since I'm ignoring the negative, I'll just say, well, that would be fatter. What does the negative do? Well, if you were paying attention the last couple of units, the negative flips the graph across the x-axis, also known as upside down. So let's make sure we label. This would be y equals x squared, and this would be y equals negative 1/4 x squared. Upside down, fatter. That's what the negative does. That's what the 1/4 does. Flipping over to the other side. We can probably guess what the plus 2 will do. Here's my parent function. Plus 2, fortunately, does exactly what we think it will do. It just moves the vertex up 2, and we have the exact same graph. Y equals x squared plus 2. Make sure we're clear, that's y equals x squared plus 2 up 2, whereas if we had it inside, that would do something entirely different, which we will talk about next lesson. So don't worry about this for now. Make sure we're clear this is what happens. Using tables can be very annoying. So like I said, use the parent function. So 3 things can happen. If A is greater than 1, it gets thinner. If A is between 0 and 1, things like 0.1 or 1/2 or 1/8 or 3/8, 3/5 we'll call it, anything between 0 and 1, it gets fatter. And again, you should probably try that on your graphing calculator to see how it looks. If there's a negative out front, it flips across the x-axis, also known as upside down. If there is a c value, ax squared plus c, it moves the parent graph up or down. If it's positive, up. If it's negative, down. So graph the parent function and graph y equals negative 2x squared plus 2. Again, parent function, now we know that the plus 2 will move it up 2. 1, 2, so the vertex is now there. We know the 2 will make it thinner. And I'm dotting it in because we're not done. And the negative will make it upside down. That's it. Plus 2 goes up 2. 2 in front of the x squared makes it thinner. Negative flips upside down. These are your homework problems. Shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes. If you have any questions, you can either rewatch the video or email your teacher. Thank you very much. Have a great night.